Why is strength training one of the smartest things you can do if, like me, you're a woman over 40? Hello friends, let's talk about strength training. I'm 44 and in early perimenopause. It means my whole body is changing as my hormones shift. You can think of it like puberty in reverse. During puberty we bloom, we develop curves, become fertile and feel more womanly. Menopause doesn't get quite the same glow up. We lose muscle mass, which affects both strength and balance, and our metabolism slows down. Insulin sensitivity drops, and appetite gets harder to regulate, so cravings can hit more easily. It becomes easier to gain weight, but the fat doesn't get stored the way it used to, as subcutaneous fat. Now it tends to settle around the waist, and it's the same, more dangerous kind of fat men struggle with, visceral fat. That puts us at higher risk for both type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. And if that weren't enough, bone loss speeds up. Honestly, it can feel completely overwhelming to think about everything women go through in midlife. But thankfully we're not helpless. Strength training can make a huge difference in helping push back against these unwanted changes. Muscle mass supports strength, balance, and a higher metabolism. Our muscles are also the body's biggest storage space for glucose, which helps with blood sugar regulation. That makes it easier to maintain a healthy weight. But there is one important challenge we have to overcome as we get older, if we really want to get the full benefits from our workouts. Anabolic resistance. Anabolic resistance means our bodies respond less strongly to the signals from weightlifting and protein, telling the muscles to grow. It's almost like the body becomes hard of hearing. To fix it, we just have to turn up the volume so the body can actually pick up the signals we're sending. Heavy strength training is especially effective for increasing muscle mass as we age. The sweet spot is usually making the exercises heavy enough that you can do only about 6 to 12 reps with good form. But remember, tendons and joints may tolerate less as we get older, and we have to respect that too. If you're new to training, it's better to start easier, using lighter resistance and higher reps, and let your body get used to strength training while you focus on doing the movements correctly. Controlled, slow movements are essential when we train, along with enough recovery, ideally at least 48 hours between intense workouts. Motivation. If you're like me and your inner motivation is not exactly overflowing, one psychologically brilliant trick is to make your workouts as similar as possible every time. Our brains love patterns and routines. Take something like cleaning the kitchen. Have you, like me, ever felt the weird satisfaction of doing something as boring as cleaning the kitchen? There is a pattern to it, and once you start, it almost feels hard to stop before the whole chain of little tasks are finished and the kitchen is clean. That is how strength training works for me. I rarely feel like doing it, and it is very easy for me to procrastinate and suddenly find all kinds of other important things to do on the days I've planned to train. But once I get started, I become strongly motivated to finish the program because my mind and body know every tiny detail of the exercises, and it feels wrong to stop before I've completed every step of the routine. And of course, when I'm done, it always feels absolutely amazing. If I were creating a brand new routine, I would keep my expectations low in the beginning and simply use that time to teach my brain and body the exercises and the order. Once things start to feel easier and the routine is in place, then it is time to make the exercises harder so you get better results. The starter cue. Another trick I use to motivate myself to start a workout is making a cup of tea and placing it next to the exercise bike I use for my warm-up. That gives me a tiny thing to look forward to when I'm start, because the tea is waiting for me. And besides smelling and tasting good, the tea works as a starter cue. Just turning on the kettle makes me more ready to continue the workout routine I've built. Then I go get my mat, grab my dumbbells, and mentally I'm already inside the routine. Pleasure and pain. In addition to my starter cue, I also need something interesting or fun to listen to when I train, because it takes my focus away from the fact that I'm pushing myself and doing something that is a little uncomfortable. Since my workout routine is deeply ingrained and almost runs on autopilot, I can usually follow inspiring podcasts while I exercise. Other people prefer music that gives them energy. What matters is that it feels positive and rewarding for you, so strength training becomes a little more enjoyable. On top of that, my 19-year-old daughter and I have started climbing together once or twice a week. For me, that is bonus training. It builds functional strength, especially in my arms, shoulders, and core, and it is fun. I also love spending time with my daughter. At the climbing gym, they have a strength room with equipment like a pull-up bar, bars for dips, and a wall where I see climbers doing handstands and upside-down push-ups. My goal is to be able to do those exercises with perfect form. But to help myself build a new routine and feel successful in the beginning, my only goal right now is that every time I climb, I end the session by doing a couple of band assistant pull-ups and dips and trying to stand on my hands once or twice. I'm a big believer in dreaming big. But to actually reach that goal, we have to make the process doable and motivating right now. Eat enough protein. Decline in protein synthesis and muscle mass accelerates significantly in the mid-40s and during menopause, and especially after age 60. If you don't take action. The good news is that we can build muscle just as effectively as younger people. But that means that you may need to eat much more protein than you used to in order to tell your body, hey, we have enough amino acids available. Start building muscle. But how much protein is enough? Research shows that older adults benefit from 0.45 to 0.55 grams of protein per pound of body weight, or 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram. Dr. Stacy Sims recommends twice as much for active women, 1 to 1.2 grams per pound, or 2 to 2.2 grams per kilogram for anyone over 40 to support brain, bone, and muscle health. The link to her video is in the description. Personally, I'm aiming for at least 0.8 grams per pound or 1.8 grams per kilogram. For me, that's around 100 grams of protein a day, which is way more than I'm used to. I use a tracking app to check my macros and my calorie intake. It is so easy to think that you're eating more protein than you actually are. I already noticed a huge bonus of bumping up my protein intake, aside from muscle growth, is that eating a large percentage of my calories from protein keeps me feeling incredibly full on fewer calories. To actually reach the goal, it is essential to make eating the way we want to eat as easy as humanly possible. It should be easier to put healthy food on the table than to eat a bag of chips, for example. I am the kind of person who needs food now when I'm hungry. If I do not have food ready, I easily end up choosing worse options. And once I start eating unhealthy foods, something in me gets triggered, and it becomes hard to stop. For example, I cannot have a pile of candy and chips lying around. In a weak moment, they will disappear in no time. My solution is to make big batches of healthy, tasty food and freeze ready-to-eat portions. Of course, it is fun to make something more time-consuming and exciting once in a while, but I always need healthy food available when I need it. I am not good at being hungry. This month, I experimented and created 2 healthy sweet meals or snacks, depending on how on how much you eat that both keep me full and help me hit my protein goals every day. Of course, it is possible to get enough protein by eating enough beans, lentils, seeds, and foods like that. But I sometimes find it difficult. So I ordered a ridiculous amount of pea protein powder and rice protein powder. When I combine 2 parts pea protein with 1 part rice protein, they create an amino acid profile that is about as good as whey protein. Unfortunately, the protein powders does not taste very good on its own, so I had to create some simple, quick and actually delicious recipes. For years, I've been baking my own banana bread with gram flour, which is flour made from chickpeas and oats. Now I replaced a lot of the gram flour with protein powder, and I honestly love this banana bread recipe. I cut the cake into serving size portions and freeze them. I usually put a frozen piece on a plate, heat it in the microwave until it's warm and cozy, and eat it with a spoon. One 200-gram serving has only 311 calories and a full 23 grams of protein. I really love chocolate, so I wanted to make a high-protein recipe that reminded me of brownie batter. I have to admit, it does not taste amazing right after you mix it together, but after it sits in the fridge overnight, it is fantastic. This recipe is also great for freezing in portions. Unlike the banana bread, I think this brownie batter tastes best cold. One 300-gram serving has 340 calories and a full 24 grams of protein. Last but not least, I have to introduce my quick and super simple pea stew, which I think tastes good and, more importantly, keeps me full for a long time on very few calories. It has plenty of protein and fiber, and it is a perfect companion if you want to lose a few pounds, because you can eat a lot of it. As you can see, I made a huge batch and freeze portions in oven-safe dishes. That way I can just throw one in the microwave and have food ready in a couple of minutes. One 500-gram serving has only 227 calories and 15 grams of protein. If you're not used to eating whole foods plant-based, you may need some time to get used to foods with less fat, sugar and flavor enhancers. But thankfully, your taste buds really do change when you change the way you eat. It is true. All the recipes are in the description if you want to check them out. There are also lots of channels sharing high-protein plant-based recipes if that's your thing. Creatine. The European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, has officially concluded that daily creatine intake increases the effect on strength training on muscle strength in adults over age 55. The way creatine helps older adults build muscle more effectively is by helping the muscles generate more energy. That allows us to train at a higher intensity, which is the most effective way to wake up those less responsive muscle cells again. Research on creatine supplementation in vegetarians specifically shows that participants experience significant improvements in working memory and intelligence, and that they achieve higher uptake in the muscles than omnivores. After 10 years on a mostly vegan diet, I've experienced both the mental and physical benefits, and I'm sold. I take the daily dose recommended on the package, 3 grams of pure creatine monohydrate daily. Sometimes, if I've underslept, I take the double. Even though this is one of the most well-studied supplements out there, it can still cause side effects, so check with your doctor to see whether it is safe for you to start. It is also important to choose a serious brand, preferably tested for unwanted substances. It is important to take creatine every single day for the best uptake in the body, and to take it with food, ideally a meal that includes both carbohydrates and protein. My tip is habit stacking. I always take creatine with breakfast because that is a meal I always eat at home. When I put my food on the table, I also put a bag of creatine on the table so I do not forget it. Next month, I'm going to do a new body scan, and I'm really curious to see whether there's a measurable increase in muscle mass. Next month, I focus on cardio. I'm cheering you on in your health journey too. We're in this together. Please like and subscribe if you want to see the rest of my journey.